What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Comically Boston, episode 42. Today is March 13th, 2023. Another Monday, another Comically Boston. Today we're going to be talking about the Celtics, real quick, probably a minute of sports. Then we're going to get into The Last of Us season finale. And the Oscars were last night, so we'll be talking about the winners towards the end of the episode and everything that happened with the Oscars last night. And all the winners, and congratulations to them. But we'll get right into it. The Celtics faced the Portland Trail Blazers last week. We won 115-93. 6 players scored double digits. JT had 30 points, 7 rebounds. Derek White always performing. Really like how Derek White has been playing this year. 21 points, 7 assists for him. Al Horford had 17. Jaylen Brown had 11. Slow night for him. Sam Hauser had 11. Smart had 10. Damian Lillard had 27, leading the Portland Trail Blazers. Saturday, the Celtics faced the Atlanta Hawks. A interesting game. Smart gets ejected in the fourth for throwing Trae Young to the ground. Or did Trae Young throw him to the ground? They both got teed up, so they're both idiots. But the Celtics beat the Atlanta Hawks 134-125. Jason Tatum had a good game. He finished with 34 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists. Jaylen Brown finished with 24 and 7 assists. Derek White had 18. Smart had 11. Brogdon off the bench had 18. Sam Hauser had 12. Good to see Sam getting some points up. Sam is an incredible shooter, Sam Hauser, but he just seems to have the worst luck, man. Like, some games they're not hitting. He's taking good shots and they're just in and out or hitting the rim and bouncing off. But I'd like to see him making shots again. That's good to see him progressing as a player, and I think he could be a real sharp-shooting threat in this league one day, like the likes of Ray Allen, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson type of people. If you go back, Chris Mullins, like one of my favorite shooters. Tonight, the Celtics face the Houston Rockets. They have Minnesota on Wednesday and the Portland Trail Blazers again on Friday, and then a back-to-back Friday, Saturday. They have Utah Saturday night. So, interesting week for the Celtics. I'll stay tuned for that. Let's get into the season finale of The Last of Us, shall we? I know it's so sad, the last episode of The Last of Us. We're not going to have any more Pedro. Psych! Every Wednesday for the next probably 6 weeks, we got new episodes of The Mandalorian. So, stay tuned for videos breaking down that. The first 2 episode breakdowns are already out on my channel. And the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian were fun. The last episode, episode 2, was amazing. So, go check those out if you haven't. But The Last of Us, episode 9, Look for the Light, is quite an episode. It just is heartbreaking in every way, but it just hurt, man. Real quick, I do want to acknowledge how good Jenna Ortega was on Saturday Night Live. It could have been better, it could have been worse, comedy-wise, but she did look amazing as Rogue. And I think she would play a pretty badass Rogue in the MCU. Comment below, what do you think? But let's get into episode 9 of The Last of Us, Look for the Light. We start the episode on a pregnant woman running. This is Anna, which is Ellie's mother, played by Ashley Johnson, which is Ellie from the video game. She sounds like Ellie. She fucking is Ellie. Like, Ashley Johnson is an amazing actress. And she's amazing as Ellie in the video game. And honestly, comment below, did you like the show better or the video game better? I think the video game is just so good that the video game's better. But I think the show is amazing. Like, there's certain parts, like, in the game, they have this whole part where they're jumping over water and they fall in the river, and then they get found by the fireflies and Joel gets knocked out, and then that's how they get to the hospital. Where in this, they're just kind of walking and a stun grenade gets tossed, and then all of a sudden we're in the hospital and we get to the whole Joel part. But I'll get into that. So we hear screams from an infected, and it's chasing after her in the distance. So Anna, pregnant, in water breaking, about to have a baby. She's running across a field, gets to an abandoned house where she's supposed to be meeting Marlene and her Firefly friends, but they're not there yet. So they're running late, and she locks herself in this house, boards up the door with a chair, and there's not much more she can do. The infected bursts in, you know, comes after her, attacks her, bites her. So in the process of being pregnant, running, you know, this lady gets bit, kills an infected, gives birth, cuts a cord, you know, like the toughest friggin' mother I've ever seen in my life. And she absolutely slays it and kills it. And this is the start of the episode. So like you just get, you know, real choked up right at the beginning, seeing how Ellie was loved and how her mom's last moments and first moments with Ellie happened, and oh, it's heartbreaking, and that's not in the game. So that was something for viewers like me, where it was like, oh man, we got to see how Ellie got her knife and got her name, and Ashley Johnson, the part I started crying like a baby when the baby starts crying and she holds her up, and instead of being like, shh, shh, quiet down, you're being a baby, you're crying, it's okay. Like instead of telling her it's okay, she's just like, yeah, Ellie's exactly like me. And the baby starts screaming and she goes, yeah, you tell him you're tough. You tell those infected to fuck off. Tell them don't come here. And they're screaming and shit. I also got a haircut, by the way, from the last episode. So tell me how I'm looking. Am I handsome again? But so Ashley Johnson, you know, Marlene shows up. Marlene's lifelong friend of Ellie, or I keep saying Ellie, of Ashley Johnson's Anna, Ellie's mom, and Marlene has to kill her best friend, like her lifelong friend of Anna, because she begs her to, and like she tells her, this is Ellie, give her this knife, please protect her. I didn't want to feed her because I'm infected now, so I didn't want to feed her infected milk. So she's like, she's hungry, she needs to be fed. Like, you know, like Ellie's a tough ass baby from the start, you know, like, oh man. But so like Ellie, she gives birth and stabs her, and then the intro song plays. And the intro song, let's just talk about how good that intro song is. The subtle guitar, boom, 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 boom. Oh man, that's so good. But so Marlene's like, I can't do it, and Anna's like, please, come on, like, I just gave birth, I'm infected, like, just fuck it, don't leave me to get infected and go kill other people and infect more, like, So Marlene has to make the tough decision to execute her lifelong friend, which is so hard to see, but it's, you know, ultimately necessary if you're living in an apocalypse like this. And then we cut to Ellie, and she's on a bridge, and she's spacing out, and she's sitting on the back of this truck, and Joel's like, hey, I found some Chef Boyardee and Boggle, which I thought was hilarious. But they're heading to the hospital, so he talks to her, she gets her from her spacing out, which she starts doing a lot. Like, she's clearly changed from the last episode where she had to kill a guy with a cleaver and smash his face to bits. And she's a changed character. She's been through a lot to get to Utah. Like, they've walked pretty much across the country. Like, man, like they've really been through it on in all facets. They've been struggling, and they've just been doing their best, but it's been a rough journey for them. And Ellie's like, I can't go back, like like I can't, like there's no turning back, I have to do this, like. And I think she knows where she's heading, but this is why this last episode is so controversial. And it's been controversial for years. You know, people in the game have been split 50-50. They're either on Team Joel or Team Ellie. And it's been crazy to see the discourse online and see how people are reacting to it. But and then they skip little parts in the game, like they go into the bus station, they bring up a ladder, and then Ellie's like, oh shit, and she drops the ladder on him, which is similar to the game in the show, except in the game, or in the show, they do a skyscraper. But I love that how Ellie had him pegged, and she's like, so we're gonna go up to a skyscraper, go up high and look around, and he's like, no, I found some TNT back there, we're gonna blow up this wall. She goes, really? No, we're going to go up to a skyscraper and go around. And he goes, but I had you going for a second, didn't I? And she's just not amused. Like, but so she's spacing out again. She drops the ladder on Joel after he boosts her up. And now he's like running up after. They start running. And then they get that beautiful scene with the giraffe, which apparently they said was a real giraffe, but it looks CG. at points. I don't know, maybe it was real. But in the game, it might as well be real. You know, like you're just walking up and Joel pets the giraffe, feeds them. And in the show, they do quite the same. They feed the giraffe and shit. And it's a beautiful little sign of happiness. She's smiling, you know, she's like, man, it's tough. But Ellie runs away. She's like, you gotta see this, you gotta see this. You know, it's just tough to see Ellie happy for the last time, you know, like probably for a while. You know, like she's not gonna have much happiness coming her ways in her future. Even her past hasn't been very happy. So it's just one signing moment. She's like, so fucking cool, I get to pet a giraffe. Like, right before things seem to be coming to an end. Like, it's tough to watch. But Joel tries to get her to turn back, you know. And she's like, after everything I've been through, it can't be through for nothing. And there's no halfway with this. Like, we have to finish what we started. And that's a beautiful message, like, in just about anything. Like, you can't go halfway with something. Please finish what you start. Like, if you start something, finish it. Like, just how life is. And in the game, after the draft scene, the hospital is, like, in the background. You know, like, the hospital, St. Mary's Hospital is, like, right there. The giraffe's like here, and then there's like a family of giraffe walking through this field, and it's pretty much like that's the next part. Like they have to go from here to there, and but in the game they have the giraffe part, and they don't show you where the hospital quite is. But in the game you know right where it is. But right, and then Joel goes and tells her. Like, so the whole time he has a scar, and it's been mentioned throughout the season. She's like, oh, where'd you get that scar? And he was like, somebody shot and missed. And, right, so Ellie starts to connect it on. She's like, oh, so did you get that when Sarah was shot? And he does get shot at the same time Sarah gets shot, but he doesn't get fatally wounded like Sarah gets in the first episode, in the game at least. So he gets hit, I think, in the flesh wound or something, like through the side, in the game. And in the show, he has this scar on his face. And she's like, "Oh, so he missed." She goes, "Oh, I figured it would have happened later." And he was like, "Nope." Second day after she died, he was in one of these camps, the military camps that were helping heal up people. And he took a gun and went to kill himself and flinched. And right before he pulled the trigger, flinched. So he just got a flesh wound and didn't kill himself. And he was like, I don't know why I flinched, but I'm glad I didn't. And Ellie thinks she's so smart, connecting the dots, like, oh, time heals all wounds. Is that what you're about to tell me? And he's like, it wasn't time that healed the wounds, which is so heartbreaking, considering what did heal the wounds was Ellie's love and him finding a new daughter, and think it was something worth fighting for. Oh, so heartbreaking. Then, after they have this sad moment, and Joel's talking about killing himself, they go to start walking away, and Ellie's like, I'm glad that didn't happen. He's like, yeah, me too. Wouldn't be here without that, so so I'm glad it didn't happen either. And they're walking away, and she's like, you know what I'm in the mood for? Puns, and then they start telling their pun jokes, and they're talking, and they're, really starting to be connected again since what happened to David, and she's been spacing out, so now she's kind of back with them, and they start walking, and then all of a sudden you see these guys approaching in the background, and they throw a stun grenade. All of a sudden they're stunned. Joel gets knocked in the back of the head out cold, and all of a sudden he wakes up in the hospital, and it's not like good. He wakes up, and she's like, Marlene, he sees Marlene in the hospital, and he's like, where the hell's Ellie? And she's like, how did you get here? And he's like, Ellie fought like hell to get here. And she's like, no, yeah, I know she fought like hell, but there was no way she made it this far without Joel killing fucking everybody in the way, pretty much, even though Ellie did fight like hell, and she's a fucking trooper, but Joel's like, take me to her, gets hit, and now he's like, oh no. And Marlene's like, this isn't the same Joel I knew before I left Boston. The Joel I knew didn't give a fuck about Ellie. Now, through the months that they've gone to get to Utah from Boston, Joel has become head over heels in love with Ellie, and he loves everything about this girl. And it's so sad that he has to go and try and save her, because it's the only thing that he can do. Like, his entire life got ruined the day Sarah died, and he spent 20 years living in misery. All of a sudden he found Ellie again, and he found something to love and something to fight for, and now they're about to kill her. to save the rest of the world, but he doesn't give a fuck about the rest of the world. It's the easiest decision he ever had to make, whether to choose the one person he loves or save the entire world, which is the dilemma, you know. Like, it's, if I was Ellie and I was immune, am I going to the doctors and say, hey, find the cure, kill me, take it out of my brain, I'll die, but the rest of the world gets to be vaccinated and immune? I don't know if I would. I think I would be in Jackson. I would have never left, and I would have just been like, hey, we got power, we got electricity, we got people, let's be communists in Jackson, you know. Like, I think I would have been right there just chilling. But at the same time, it's a tough thing when you're like, I've watched so many people die, it's my turn, you know. Like, everyone dies from this disease but me. I can get bit 100 times and not die, but I can get ripped apart and die, you know. So, you know, so I don't know. Maybe if they could get the cure out of me without killing me, maybe I'd do it. But I don't know. It's a tough decision. But if I was Joel, right? So if you're Joel, do you save? And Ellie's my daughter. Do I save her? Hell yeah, I fucking save her. And especially playing as Joel in the game, you go on a murder spree and kill everybody in the fucking hospital. And that's exactly what Joel does. He goes cold blood through the hospital, and it's in the score and everything that's happening as he's walking through the hallways, and he's just, you know, the score really got to me. Like, it was just, you know, it's like this low, deep, bassy like notes. And he's just walking through and just bah, bah, you know, corner, somebody's running away, bah, bah, bah. He just runs out of ammo. The look on his face when he runs out of ammo and just takes out the knife, stabs the guy, like, oh, man. And those of you that have played the second game, you know this picture. All of a sudden, he walks in and the doctor's like, I can't let you take her. And the picture of Walter White, no, don't do it, no, from Breaking Bad. Oh man, that's exactly how I feel. I saw that on Twitter. I was dying. But Joel kills the doctor in cold blood and picks up Ellie and walks up out of there. And this picture of him carrying out Ellie, oh man, so sad. And people have been speculating that this doctor in the background is Abby from the second game. If you know, you know. Don't bring your golf clubs. Oh God. But oh man, it's so heartbreaking seeing Joel have to like pick her up off the hospital table, and he's like, is she alright? And oh man, he's just gone through this cold-blooded, murderous, ran-through spree of killing everybody, and oh my God, it's tough. Oh, it's so tough. And oh man, oh. Right, so he kills everyone, carries Ellie out. He gets down the elevator, gets down to the parking garage, goes to a car. Marlene's like, hey, what's up? Like, you're not taking her, right? We can still save, even after what you've done, we can still turn around and I think, right? I think we can fix this. And he's like, no, I can't. I gotta take her. We won't let this happen. And she's like, come on. And he's like, no, it's not your choice. And she's like, it's not your fucking choice either. It's Ellie's choice. And what would she do? And I think fucking Joel knows that Marlene's right. And he's like, you know, I don't care, and shoots Marlene, and then puts Ellie in the car, and then turns around, which is the exact scene from the game. And she's like, come on, please, you shot me, like, we could still fix this. Like, Marlene gives him another chance, and he's like, no, you just come after her, and fucking kills her, shoots her in the head. So Joel's a vicious murderer, just killed a whole hospital of people to save Ellie, and the whole point of this entire show was to get Ellie to this hospital, but he couldn't do it. He could, like, you know, like, he just couldn't do it. And I think he knew what was going to happen too, and I think Ellie knew, and he couldn't do it, you know, like, and I don't blame him. So he gets in the car and they head back to Wyoming, and he's like, hey, I'm taking us home, and I'm sorry. And she's like, rolls over, and oh, it's so heartbreaking. And then they start hiking back, and he's comparing Ellie to Sarah, and not that you guys are like, Sarah was more girly, and she's like, I'm not girly, and he's like, no, you're not, are you? But so he's comparing, I think you'd like her, and Ellie's like, yeah, I think I like her too. And then finally, she asks Joel, and he lies. or actually, well, in the car he lied, right? So she asked Joel what happened, and he lies, and he tells her the lies in the car. And this is the first time, like the whole time, he's really been truthful to her and told her things about Tommy and his past and Sarah and everything. So they've been building this trust for so long. All of a sudden, the trust is gone, and it's just him and Ellie, and he's sad, and she's sad, and it's heartbreaking. It's really something. And then, right, so they're walking, and then she tells Joel about Riley and how she had to kill her, and I told you some person I had to kill, you know, like, so she almost confirms what we thought about episode 7 is when Riley gets infected. They're both infected, but Ellie lives. What happened to Riley? She had to kill her own best friend, so she was like, first it was Riley, then it was Tess, then it was Sam. It's my turn. Like, I've watched all these people I care about die. Like, it's my turn. And, oh man, and die from this infection. And she's like, it can't be for nothing. Like, it sucks, man. And then she asks for the truth again. And Joel lies again. And she just goes, okay. And that's where the episode ends. Which is exactly where the first game ended, right? So I played the first game. I was like, maybe I'll play the first game just to be able to watch the show because the show looked good. I was like, all right, maybe I'll play the first game. I played the first game, got to the end of the first game in like 2 or 3 days, and was like, well, fuck me sideways. I have to get the second game now because that's the biggest cliffhanger ending I've ever played. But The Last of Us video game might be the best game I've ever played. The show might not be the best show I've ever seen, but the game is in fact the best game I've ever played. And the show is very, very good, and its best parts of the game are kind of still there in the show, and they've adapted it to be a show from a game, so it is much harder. You know, like, they can't just build a CGI universe and put CGI characters in it and go. They have real characters, they have CGI background effects, you know, like, it's much harder. But I can't wait for season 2. Comment below. What did you think of season 1? What did you think of the games? What did you think of Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann teaming up? Craig Mazin from Chernobyl. He really had a lot of great things to say. I loved what he had to say at the end. He was like, everything wonderful and everything bad ultimately starts with love. The whole time they are building the trust, and he lies to her to protect her, like all parents do. They always lie to their kids thinking they're protecting them, but that's not the truth. You always have to fucking tell the truth to your kids. And it's it's a very controversial ending, because we understand why Joel does it, and we understand why Ellie doesn't want him to do it. And it's tough, but I loved what Craig had to say here about The Last of Us Season 2, and how it will be different from The Last of Us Part 2 of the game, where Abby is the main character and not in Part 1 of the game. And he said, quote, "It will be different just as this season was different from the first game." He continued, "Sometimes it will be different radically, and sometimes it will be barely different at all. But it is going to be different, and it will be its own thing. It won't be exactly like the game. It will be the show that Neil and I want to make, but we are making it with Bella. So Bella Ramsey will be Ellie, and it will be, season 2 will be more of Ellie's story probably, and then, I don't know, maybe they'll change it up a little bit, and they won't necessarily show Abby's side of the story. Maybe that will be season 3, maybe they'll be spacing this Part 2 game into 2 seasons, and then as they do these 2 seasons of show, maybe they'll start talking about doing a Part 3 of the video game to do more seasons of the show. I don't know. I am curious to see what they do. And actually, I'm going to stop this episode here, and thank you guys for watching another episode of Comically Boston. I'm going to post another video, probably coming out in another day or so. I'll be talking about the Oscars, because I ran a little bit long talking about The Last of Us here, and this should be its own episode anyways. The Last of Us season finale. Stay tuned next episode to talk about the Oscar winners. And maybe I'll talk about the Oscar winners with Mando, but I think Mando maybe needs to be its own episode too. So stay tuned until the next episode for the Oscar winners. And some pictures here of Joel and Ellie, Bella and Pedro. I just love them both so much. They're just amazing, and they're studs. And Pedro at the Oscars looked great. But we'll get more into that in 1 second, talking about the Oscars game. I'm going to record a whole nother video, and stay tuned for this one tomorrow. But I'm going to post this video today, so please like, comment, subscribe, hit my DMs. My link will be in the description below on Instagram and Twitter. Just follow me on there. Hit that bell if you're new, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Peace.